up, y'all? This is Tracy from Nerd Squish. What was that sound? What up, y'all? This is Tracy from Nerd Squish, and today we've got a good old-fashioned book haul. This is not all of it. There's so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a problem. And that problem is I have two hobbies that people would think are related, but they're not, okay? I like to read books, that's one, okay? And the second one is just buying books, collecting books. All that to say, I have a problem with buying books, but the first step to recovery is admitting that you have a problem. So now that we got that out the way, let's look at this giant stack of books that I have bought over a period of months, obviously, because it's a lot. I think it's only appropriate that I start this haul off with some of my favorite horror authors. So we're gonna start with Stephen King's Cujo, a book that I have been yearning to have on my shelf. I've been trying to find like an original copy. I'll add like a little picture of what that looks like. I like the old Stephen King's. The new covers, they don't have that same panache that the old ones do. I digress though, because I have not been able to find it. And this cover is actually really cool, and I found this discounted for like $6 at Books A Million. We all know the story, a Saint Bernard that gets rabies and goes from the lovable family dog to this just demonic creature who's out for blood. And it's just, you know, I love spooky puppies. That is my brand. So needed Cujo on the shelf. But that being said, if I do find this one, I will buy it. We have another Stephen King, The Tommyknockers, which this was a story I'm not super familiar with, but from what I've read in the description, this lady finds some alien ship kind of thing in the woods, and as a result, the entire town where she lives, like just weird stuff is happening, and it's like this one hive mind thing. It's creepy. I don't know. It's Stephen King. I found it at Half Price Books, and when you find Half Price Stephen King, you don't say no. You pick it up, you buy it, and you put it on your shelf. This is law. Look at this man. Look at this man. He knows what he's doing. Now we're gonna move on to some Dean Koontz. He's the man. I'm a sucker for anything he writes, but I have recently I acquired in the last book haul, I was gonna say recent. I don't know how recent. I have no concept of time. So I'll put it up here or put it in the description box. I acquired some of the Dean Koontz Frankenstein series. I've been wanting to read it. People have been recommending it. So I had found like 3 of the books. I found the other 2. Now, that being said, I have started the series. I have read number 1 and I have read number 2. I am moving on to number 3. It's so good. It's Frankenstein, but modern, set in New Orleans, written by Dean Koontz. What else do you need to know? That is a beautiful combination of things. So, very happy to have the full series. And the next Dean Koontz is one that I have not heard of previously. It's Your Heart Belongs to Me. Now, the cover, you're like, what? Like, the cover's not giving, right? I was hesitant to even pick this up, but then I read the description and I was like, oh, Koontz, you did it again. So this book follows a dude named Ryan, and your boy Ryan, he's not having a good time in life. You know, he's kind of struggling with health, his love life, everything, and he needs a heart transplant. So he gets one. He thinks things are looking up. He's trying to get back with his girlfriend when he gets a note, a little box of Valentine candy. All this box says is, your heart belongs to me. And all of a sudden, he's being stalked by some mysterious woman who just so happens to be the spitting image of the woman that he got the heart from. What? What? Mystery, thrills. I'm very excited to read this. Also, Dean Koontz and his pupper. Oh, I love a puppy moment. Like, can we make it a requirement that if you do put a headshot or a picture of yourself as an author, it's your book and you're like, you know what these readers need? They need a picture of me. You better add a dog. If you don't add a dog, I don't want to see your face. This is law. Next up, I have Mr. Magic by Kirsten White. This is a book that I have been curious about. Saw it at the used bookstore, felt like it was a bit of destiny. So this book follows a old TV show, and we had a bunch of former child stars who experienced some kind of tragic accident, and that shut down the production of the TV show that they were on, right? But the show has a huge cult following. But it's kind of mysterious, right? The show doesn't really have like surviving footage, right? No evidence of who directed or produced it. It's very mysterious, very weird. Now, fate kind of brings back all these former child stars as adults back together. But here's the thing. They're the only ones that truly know what happened on set that shut it all down. So they start to remember all these things, and then it becomes a, you know, did we just wind up here, or did something lure us here? So Mr. Magic, it sounds nice and mysterious, nice and spooky. It kind of feels like that TV show that you talk about as a child, and you talk to other people, and you're like, am I crazy? Did this not exist? And I love that. So I have read the first volume of Jughead the Hunger, and I was obsessed with it. So you know that I had to get Jughead Volume 2 and Volume 3 because the world of Archie and werewolves is a beautiful combination, and this is fantastic. I have read these already. I'll tell you that ahead of time. They're beautiful. The art is just the perfect amount of gore and beautiful werewolf designs, which you know that I'm a snob about. I mean, the werewolves in this book are just wonderful. I mean, look at this cover. Look at that. Beautiful. On the note of Jughead the Hunger, I have become obsessed with the story and was at Books A Million hunting through the bargain section, because let me tell you, the Books A Million bargain section, I am popping off in there often, and I find some really good stuff. But I found A Werewolf in Riverdale, which I think is just the novelization of the comic book series. And I was like, well, I loved it so much, I might read it this way too. Like, let's go. Plus, you know, if I see a werewolf book, I gotta get it. Which brings to mind the next book in this haul. When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. Now, if you look at this cover, it is kind of hard to see, but we're like in a window and there's a little werewolf. I mean, that's my brand. You have a struggling actress who finds a 5-year-old kid who's running away from his father who abuses him, right? So she's like, I'm gonna do a good deed and I'm gonna help this kid get away from his abusive father. But then she finds out it's not just, you know, your typical run-of-the-mill abusive situation. She's about to learn that there's more to these surreal and grisly events than she could have ever imagined. And that when the wolf finally comes home, no one will be spared. I had to get it. It's like literally against my religion to see a werewolf item and not bring it home. This is law. Why do I keep saying that? Like, let's back up. I have never said that phrase in my life, and yet here I am repeatedly saying the phrase. I don't know what's going on today. I've had a lot of caffeine. A lot of it. I had coffee and I had a fuel from Black Rock. So we're just going real fast today. I didn't realize how many books I have bought since I've done a book haul. There are so many stories. Why am I slapping them? I'm abusing my books. This next book was recommended by my friend Megan. So Megan, girl, if you're watching this, mwah, 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 I love you, you beautiful human being. You recommended The Butcher and the Wren by Elena. I should know how to say this name. Urquhart? Let's just pretend I said that right, because I know I didn't. Anyway, I'm a sucker as a native New Orleanian for a book that is set in New Orleans. It could be literally about anything. I'm like, oh, they're in the Crescent City, let's go. The first part of the description of this book is, something dark is lurking in the Louisiana bayou. Say less. I'm in. So we basically have a forensic pathologist who is working on a case of some like killer in the bayou, and that's a equation for a good time. So I don't really know much more than that, but I'm very excited to read it. Apparently it is, the author is the co-host of Morbid. Apparently there's a sequel too, so, and it's a very small book, so I gotta get to reading so I can pick up the second one. I also picked up the newest Riley Sager book, With a Vengeance. This is another author. If I see Riley Sager, I buy Riley Sager. This is law, because apparently that's the phrase of this video. This is set in 1942. You've got a girl who, 6 people destroyed her family. I guess they were all killed, I don't know. So years later, she decides to lure them all onto this train to, you know, get her revenge, but one of the passengers is murdered, not by her, and it completely derails her whole plan. So you've just got good old-fashioned thriller mystery by Riley Sager, and you can't go wrong. Very excited about that. Next book is Malice House by Megan Shepherd. This is one, I don't remember the name of the booktuber that I recently watched that recommended this book, but this premise is just, it's perfect. It follows Haven Marbury, who is an aspiring artist. Her father passes away and she goes to his seaside house to clear it out and get things straight. And that's when she finds Bedtime Stories for Monsters, which is a book that her dad was working on. He was an author, right? And so she sees this as an opportunity to do a little collab with her late father, where she can illustrate these monsters, right? But then she sees a monster. Like, there's monstrous, supernatural, weird things going on in the house. And honestly, dead father, monsters, it spoke to me. So I'm very, very excited to dive into the story and to see what happens to Maven at this seaside house. I have 2 more books that I got in the bargain section at Books A Million because it pops off. Okay, we have The Taking of Jake Livingston by Ryan Douglas. Now this is one that I have had on my list for a while. It's a YA book, which YA I say usually, these days, as a 36-year-old, like, rotting woman, most YA I can't get into if it's modern. If it's like something I grew up with, I still love those stories. So I was a little hesitant to pick up this book, but you want to talk about beautiful covers. This is how you do book covers. This book follows Jake Livingston, who is a kid that lives in a very racist town. As a result, he has a really tough time in school and all that. And on top of all that, he can see ghosts, which becomes a further problem when a particular vengeful ghost is out for him for some reason. I've been very curious about this book for a while, so when I saw it was the very last one in the bargain section, I was like, let's go. Next up, I have what appears to be a modern take on a Dracula story, which is Go Hunt Me by Kelly DeVos. Now this it sounds so fun. Again, it's YA, but it follows these friends that made a bunch of like movies when they were in college or high school, I think it is. Yes, in high school. So now they're going their separate ways in college and decide we need to make one just banger of a movie before we all separate. So they decide to film a movie about the real inspiration for Dracula on set in Romania, and of course when they get there, weird things start to happen. One disappears, they think they're seeing a strange cloaked man in the distance. You know what that means. It's Dracula. Come on, people making a film about the inspiration behind Dracula and they meet Dracula? Stop. That's friggin' cool. I mean, come on. I might be a fan of Dracula, maybe. We may never know. We're gonna end this haul with 2 classic books. I've got another confession to make. Also, from Books A Million. I need to stay away from Books A Million. first one is a book that I have never read, and that is The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux. First of all, let's take in the details of this book. This is gorgeous. Look at her, just shining like a diamond. On the back, we have the little mask. I don't know much about the novelization. To be honest, I don't know how closely it resembles any of its film adaptations, but I am very excited to dive into the words of Gaston Leroux and find out. Next up, I have another book from that collection. It is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Again, beautiful cover that goes to the spine and also to the back. Now, I have read this one before in high school, so I don't want to admit it, but that was a long time ago. It was a really long time ago. There's not many classics that I truly enjoy, but I do want the classics that I like on my shelf. I'm trying to get classy with the classics, so this was a must-have. All right, that's all, folks. That's my book haul. It's juicy, it's beautiful, it's got classics, it's got curveballs, it's got YA. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books, if you love them, if you hate them, or more importantly, throw a book recommendation down in those comments because I'm always looking for a good new story to read. Okay, now I have to organize my shelves. They're at max capacity and it's a problem. So with that, maybe we need to do a shelf reorg video soon because yeah, I'm looking, so behind this camera are my shelves and it is a hot mess express. It's not good. It could be worse, but it's not good. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so when new videos hit the channel, you'll be notified. And as always, thank y'all for watching, and I'll catch you nerds later.